Welcome to the Careerfluencer podcast. This is Ely Honore. I'm a multimodality technologist currently based out of Miami, Florida. There are tons of people who have jobs that they hate. They do their jobs, but they're not happy. So for me, being happy is about setting the goals and then focusing on those goals and always looking at the big picture because I know it's all kind of leading somewhere. When I was younger, I was a lot like how I am now. Just I have an unlimited amount of interest. At least it seems that way. So, when I was a kid, I think I ran through the gamut of career paths in my head. And if you asked me one day, I'd say I want to be a cop. If you asked me the next week, I'd say I want to be a firefighter. If you asked me the week after that, I wanted to be a rock star. Then I wanted to be a teacher. Then I wanted to be an astronaut. So some kids kind of settle on something. I know people that when they were a kid, they said they want to be a doctor, and that answer pretty much never changed. Or I want to be a lawyer, and that never changed. And I think that's awesome. And it's amazing to have that kind of like self-awareness and understanding in who you are and to stick with it. But I've had so many different interests and passions, and those things have kind of waned and changed and evolved, and it's still kind of that way now. So I think it was a gift and a curse because, you end up, if you have that kind of personality, you do end up taking like the more scenic route until you somewhat settle on something that you love and you can do for a long time. Even for jobs that I feel like I'm not qualified for, I think I always have a shot because I've done so many different things and worked in different arenas and had a unique set of experiences. I was really into music and I thought I was going to do that for the rest of my life. And when I realized that I no longer wanted to, I did think early on I was gonna be able to do it forever, like just be a musician, and that's what I wanted to do, whether it was playing at bars and whatever, or being a session player in the studio for other musicians, or putting out my own stuff. So when I realized that, oh no, I don't want to do this, it really scared me because I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. I loved music and it was my passion, but I didn't enjoy the lifestyle, and I didn't enjoy the instability, and I didn't want to be a touring musician. I didn't want to be a superstar either, because I'm somewhat of a private person and I enjoy, kind of having a normal life. So I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So probably in my second or third year, I was studying music education. I was like, man, I really need to get serious about exactly what I want to do. And that's when I became a music teacher, essentially. But very quickly into that, I realized I didn't like it. I didn't like the school system. I didn't like, everything. I didn't like the pay. There were just so many things about it that made me realize, man, I can't do this for the next 20 years. So then I started kind of searching for the next thing, which is what landed me in the healthcare field. By luck, my sister at the time had a best friend who was an x-ray tech, and she was also a mammo tech, so she did a mammography. And I picked her brain, and I talked to her, and she kind of gave me like the reading material and the website to go to. And I really fell in love with it because it was really the best of both worlds for me. It was healthcare, which was stable. You'll always be able to have a job because people are always getting sick. And it was cool because you're basically playing with giant computers and really cool toys, So it was a great combination of cutting edge technology and helping people. And it's weird because as a musician, like, I didn't think I'd be in healthcare and I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I do. But this specific field, because healthcare is really broad, you could be a doctor, a nurse, you can work in the ER as a phlebotomist, as a tech, you could be a paramedic, you could be a respiratory therapist. It's really endless. You could work in the lab, you could be a pharmacist. But I felt like I fell in right into the thing that's perfect for me and really speaks to kind of just the way my mind works. You get to play with cutting edge technology. You're helping patients. The discipline that it takes to be a musician, I was kind of able to pivot and apply that to school, and I was able, like, it's funny because I'm I'm super creative and I'm super spontaneous musically. Um, and kind of those skills, I also spontaneously fell into imaging, right? And there's so much overlap in the skills that it takes to be the process that it takes to be a good musician and the process that it takes to be good at anything, right? So I really just kind of through through chance fell into to healthcare. I used to work at a really big hospital, and they put me in charge of kind of an important project. And without getting too specific, I basically dropped the ball on the project. And for a long time, I felt like I was kind of on the hot seat. And, at the time, it was super embarrassing. It was really, it made me question if I was in the right career. And, when you work for a really big company and it's really difficult to stand out. But if you make a mistake, you feel like you'll have that, um, not so much it's kind of hard to get out from under that cloud, and um, those certain things, negative things, tend to follow you around, um, and just breaking out of that reputation, like a negative reputation in a big company, is really difficult. Um, so yeah, that failure haunted me for a very long time. Now, what ended up happening as a result of that is that one of the biggest people at that company, like a VP, for whatever reason, uh, word got back to him, and that person uh, kind of took me under their wing and mentored me through many other successful projects, um, at work and even outside of work. And that person to this day is someone I lean on heavily and depend on heavily, and I pick their brain about everything. And it's weird because had that monumental failure not happened, I would have never even met this person. But yeah, they literally pulled me into the office and they said, "Hey, you were in charge of this project. What happened?" And I told them, and we kind of struck up a professional relationship, which later became a friendship. And yeah, it's been, I can't even put into words how instrumental their guidance and their advice has been, um, since that happened. And a lot of the things I've been able to accomplish and learn, um, wouldn't have been possible without that. I think one of the most important things I've learned from him is just in terms of leadership style. I never. I've worked for a million companies, and I've been around in healthcare. Um, there's a strong focus on providing good care, as there should be, because that's the center of what you're doing. You're helping people get better, so the care needs to be excellent. But there's never a good focus, and we're generalizing here. And a lot of people slip through the cracks, and they feel unheard, and the biggest thing I learned from him was, if you treat your employees really, really, really well and show them that you care and be empathetic to their various situations, there's kind of a ripple effect where they'll feel valued and they'll be loyal and they'll be happier. Um, they'll be, you kind of create, you foster an atmosphere and an environment where people are generally happier and their performance is always better. So jumping ahead a little bit, when I got into leadership roles or leadership positions or training situations where people depended on me, the people that depended on me or that I was in charge of, I always wanted them and want them to, because now I have my own company, want them to feel valued, feel heard and understood, and just be empathetic to whatever's going on. And if I've got to go back for them to to upper management, I do so, and I let them know that I have their back. And the response is always positive, and you always get the best performance out of your employees that way. That's the thing that I learned from him that I really hadn't seen much of until I met this person. People, the higher up you go in the chain, the more disconnected people tend to be. And it isn't intentional. It's just kind of a function of the job. They're kind of in some office 15 floors up making decisions, but they're making decisions about people who sometimes they never meet or they interact with very seldomly, and they don't understand their perspective. So I think, again, I guess reiterating the point, just never kind of losing sight of that, and always making your employee feel valued. It goes a long way. And the most important thing is that I didn't learn that from him because he told it to me. Like, we never really had a conversation. I mean, I think I've mentioned it to him since, but he never said those things. He showed them. I was like, man, this guy actually cares. It's not just, he's not putting up a front. It's not for show. He actually cares about what I think. He picks my brain, and and not just me, all his employees. He asks for your input in major decisions, and then actually takes the good ideas and implements them. You don't really get a lot of that in huge companies. So I thought that was really awesome, a really awesome lesson that no matter what I do, it's applicable everywhere. And sometimes the only way to get there is to try different things, right? So I thought I wanted one thing. I tried it. It didn't work out. I had to pivot and try something else. That didn't work out. And then here I am, and I found something that kind of works for me, gives me the income level that I want, gives me the flexibility that I need to be able to have a family and to be able to dedicate to my other interests. So it's really important to know what you want, and play to your strengths, right? So whatever you're good at, if you're a techie person and you're good with technology and those things interest you, then that kind of narrows it down. The most important thing is just trying things out, trial and error. Because even when you do love something and you're passionate about it, for example, me in music, I wouldn't have known, if I would have never tried, I probably would have regretted it my whole life. I had to kind of try to make music my career and follow that dream and get there and see, it's not exactly what I thought it'd be, and I really don't want to do this. If I had never done that, I would have regretted it for the rest of my life. I think I still kind of have 2 or 3 different career changes in the books for me.